It's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? It is Friday, January 28th, 2022. Hell yeah, it's Friday. Again, I'll just reiterate, this week has been the longest year of my life.
Pretty much.
My God. Does this not feel like just forever?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yep.
But it is over 24 hours from now. We'll be leaving the snowboard, so I won't be asleep. 48 hours from now, this ass will be sleeping.
Yep.
Anyway, the point is, welcome to the Monty Show.
Yeah.
On a Friday, we got a lot to get to. Jaxson Dart is going to Oxford instead of Provo. The unfortunate, inevitable outcome in the Jaxson Dart pursuit has now become a reality. We'll talk all about that. With some new details on why he chose Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Jaxson Dart is going to Ole Miss. We'll tell you why and how coming up in just a bit. We've got to talk about taxes. Jake got a slap in the bag this morning. Kind of a reality check.
Maybe.
Yeah, you make too much money.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that. We've got a big update on the investment property we bought this week. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to start with the Utah Jazz. Because it seems like there has been a lot of turmoil around this basketball team. And the interesting part about that is a big part of me is asking why. Why is there so much turmoil surrounding this team right now? And the answer is I don't know, because this is not a bad team. By any stretch of the imagination, the Utah Jazz are amongst probably the 15 best teams in the NBA. Arguably, when they're 100% and healthy, they're one of the top 7 teams in the NBA. So why do we have so much internal strife and infighting in this locker room? Because according to people that we're talking to, including one source inside the organization, there has been significant turmoil in the locker room with this basketball team. And frankly, Jake, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the last couple of seasons with this team, I think the frustration starts in the bubble. You know, you go all the way back to the bubble. You go back to losing to Jamal Murray and the Nuggets. And then I think you fast forward and you've got, the loss to the Clippers and the way that whole thing went down and the Terrence Mann situation. And, there's just been some things that have been building. And I think when you look at the characteristics of the star players on this team, if you will, or the best players on the team in Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, I think each of them has things that annoy the other person. And I think, one of the big things that we always talk about on the show is this team's relationship with the officials. And I think that, Rudy is obviously guilty of complaining to the officials more than he should. But I also think Donovan Mitchell is guilty of not being a good enough leader for this team yet. I think Donovan Mitchell has work to do. I think Donovan Mitchell has growth to go through to become a better player in the personnel department, meaning that he's got to be a better leader for this team. And I think, the question you're asking, why is there turmoil? Well, the long and short of it is that because that happens when there's a lack of leadership on a team, when there's a lack of cohesiveness on a team. And we can say, well, Quinn needs to do a better job. But the fact is, in NBA culture, the locker room, typically has its own culture and usually will run itself, right? The players have a relationship with Quinn, obviously. But when Quinn's not around, when the coaching staff isn't around and it's just the boys in the locker room, what's that culture like? Well, right now it's not good. And I think that part of Donovan Mitchell's game and really of Rudy Gobert's game as well has to get better. And I don't know how that gets better because, we're not hearing real positive things going on right now. So hopefully, Donovan Mitchell comes back this weekend from the concussion protocol. Hopefully he knocks it out of the park in his first game back, and there can be some positivity that comes through the team, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is a big game tonight for the Jazz, and I know that Memphis is not to be, played with.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is very good. The Memphis Grizzlies are an elite team. But if you believe, the hype, I mean, Memphis is one of the contenders for the Western Conference Championship, and I actually do believe that hype. I think the way they're playing, but I want to focus more on this Utah Jazz team because we have been able to confirm that there has indeed been turmoil in that Utah Jazz locker room. And a lot of it is centered around Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert called out his teammates, as we reported last week. He called out his teammates for a lack of effort. And the new details are that Rudy Gobert was then in turn called out for, his complaining to officials in what his teammates view is a damaging fashion. His teammates believe that Rudy Gobert's obsessive complaining and arm raising and waving and yelling and screaming at officials damages other members of that team and hurts their reputation as a ball club with NBA officials. And I got to say, I agree with that. I think that the two, guilty parties on this Utah Jazz team are Rudy Gobert and Bojan Bogdanovic. But Rudy Gobert is on an island of his own when it comes to complaining to NBA officials. And when his teammates pointed that out to him, Rudy Gobert did not react kindly to that. And it is a point of contention on this team.
Yeah.
And Rudy Gobert, from what I understand, Rudy Gobert does not miss the point that when he doesn't play, they are worse off defensively. And he tells his teammates that. And he calls his teammates out for that. And on a surface level, I don't necessarily believe that that's an issue. But I think when you're calling guys out, you have to be self-accountable.
Yeah.
One of the things that goes on when you're pointing fingers at other people, fingers begin to get pointed at you. And a lot of guys do not like to look in the mirror when it comes to accountability.
Yeah.
And Rudy Gobert does not want to own up to the fact that he has a problem with NBA officials, and that when he complains and waves his arms and yells and screams, it is a detrimental action towards the rest of his teammates. And when that is pointed out to him, he does not react well to that.
Yeah.
But I want to go on the record right now and unequivocally state, Donovan Mitchell has never demanded a trade from this team. From what people are telling me, he's never said, I want to be traded. That is just not fact. He has simply said, I am not down to go through a complete rebuild where the Utah Jazz are a terrible basketball team for 3 years. He does not want to do that. And frankly, that's very different than saying, I don't want to be a Utah Jazz man.
Yeah.
What Donovan Mitchell has said is, I do not want to go through a long period of losing in my career. I am not down for that.
Mm-hmm.
He has never said, I don't want to be in Utah. He has never said, I don't want to play in this market.
Yeah.
He has never said, I'm a star that's too big for Salt Lake City. From what I'm told, Donovan Mitchell has never said that. And I think these are two very different conversations. And by the way, if you're a Jazz fan, or if you're Ryan Smith or Danny Ainge, what answer do you want from him other than, I am not down to lose for 2 to 3 years of my career? Why is it a problem that he is saying that? And the other thing that I was told point blank is, nobody in Donovan Mitchell's inner circle is a problem for the Utah Jazz. Nobody in his inner circle has said, we need to get out of Utah, or we're too big for Utah. There was that report from Rick Bucher yesterday that said that Donovan Mitchell and people around Donovan Mitchell believe that he is losing money and he is too big of a star for Salt Lake City. I am told he has never said that, and nobody around Donovan Mitchell has ever told the Jazz that.
Because it's garbage.
And I just don't believe that Donovan Mitchell's looking to get out of Utah. I believe Donovan Mitchell's looking to win multiple championships in his career.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't either.
I think a lot of people want to take that logic and that idea and that mentality that Donovan has, and they want to turn that into a trade demand. And I just think it's such a different situation. I mean, look no further than James Harden and Ben Simmons. I mean, the Harden situation in Houston before he got to Brooklyn, that's a trade demand, The Ben Simmons situation is a trade demand. That's not the Donovan Mitchell situation. It is so clear the difference between a trade demand and an expectation of winning. What is he supposed to do? Expect that they're going to lose? No. So that's why I say, your point and your question about, hey, why is there turmoil on this team? Yes, Rudy Gobert is the spark of that turmoil, but I think it's unfair to say that Rudy's the only reason. I think what's more fair to say is they go back and forth, right? Rudy and his teammates, and there's nobody to step in and say, hey, what are we doing?
This is not who we are.
What are we arguing about right now? Yeah, you need to stop bitching at the officials. Yeah, we need to move the ball more, and we need to give Bogey more open looks in the corner. JC, maybe get a little bit better of a shot selection, right?
I think Jordan Clarkson is I'm going to stop short of saying he's a problem, but Jordan Clarkson's unwillingness to pass the basketball and take very difficult shots, it is a point of frustration for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
And I think, this issue, the one issue that continues to come up and rear its ugly head is that there is a lack of accountability from the coaching staff to veteran players on this team. And that includes Jordan Clarkson. And this issue with the officials, from what I understand, Rudy Gobert has been talked to by just about everybody about this.
Mm-hmm.
And not just in the organization. His friends around the league have told Rudy Gobert, hey, this is a bad look for you with the officials.
Yeah.
That you are becoming a problem. Because I think the other thing that and nobody has told me this directly, but I think Rudy Gobert believes he's a superstar in this league. And he just is not on that level. He is not an elite offensive player. Those are the guys that get calls in this league.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert is not going to get calls. He is not a superstar caliber player in this league, and therefore he is not going to get deferential treatment from the officials.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden comes to mind, Giannis, Joel Embiid, those guys get calls. Those guys have a little more leash to complain to the officials. When you're Rudy Gobert and you need the officials on the defensive end.
Yeah.
When you are a shot blocker and a rim protector, you need the officials. He does not have the officials. And a lot of it is his treatment of the officials on the floor.
Well, and I think that whole idea is partially the source of the frustration. Hey, dude, you're a defensive player.
Yes.
You need a good relationship with the officials, and you don't have a good relationship with the officials.
That's right.
And so it leads to a lot of problems. And so, it was so funny, when you go back to the bubble and you watch how this team is developed, and you really watch how the league has developed how they play the Utah Jazz, the league is not scared of Rudy anymore. And I think this is something that is starting to catch a little fire around the league and around the just the general NBA landscape. You see guys, it was so crazy to me when they played the Rockets the other day, whenever that was, that you have a guy in Eric Gordon who is typically a jump shooter. Eric Gordon is not known for finishing at the rim and doing what guys like Kyrie do at the rim, right? Eric Gordon's a jump shooter. You got this guy going right into Rudy's chest and finishing at the rim. Guys are not scared of Rudy anymore, and I think Rudy would do well to develop a relationship with the officials so that he can have more rapport and get more of those calls.
And the truth is, Rudy Gobert is just such an important player to this team defensively as they are constructed right now. And I think one of the things that really stands out about Rudy is that he is one small step away offensively from being a superstar in this league.
Yes.
He is very close. If Rudy Gobert can just develop the ability to have a back to the basket game, not a fadeaway, not a turnaround, just the ability to catch the ball in the post and dribble into an offensive opportunity without turning the ball over, he instantly becomes a force offensively.
Well, and they as a team become better offensively,
absolutely. And so Rudy, I just think that Rudy Gobert lacks perspective on who he is and where he is.
Yeah.
And when you are at his level and you are paid amongst the highest paid players in the league, you have to have some idea of how to conduct yourself. Because if Rudy Gobert was a much stronger presence on the floor, if there wasn't a belief around the NBA that you could get to Rudy Gobert, because that is the belief around the NBA. I mean, it starts with Miles Turner. I mean, you can see it every single night, it seems like. There is a belief, and Ja Morant's going to attack him tonight. Well, I guess that he won't because Rudy's not going to play.
Yeah.
But you watch when guys like Ja Morant play the Jazz.
Yeah.
He has tried to dunk on Rudy 2 or 3 times.
Oh, it's a stated goal of Ja Morant's to dunk on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
He said, I am going to do it at some point. And Rudy has won those matchups so far. Give him
Yes.
credit. I mean, Rudy has absolutely won the, hey, Ja Morant's coming for me. Is he going to dunk or am I going to block it? Rudy's won those, and I think he deserves credit.
Rudy is just such an important part of this team. He is such a gifted defender. He is such a good player at that end. He has got to learn to control his emotions on the floor. And I think that's a big part of all of these guys. I look at the Joe Ingles situation the other night. This is the other thing I was talking to somebody in the Jazz about yesterday.
Yeah.
Was that there was a bit of deflation, if you will, in Joe Ingles getting that shot blocked.
Yeah.
When he went for that layup and he got that shot blocked, it's not that Joe Ingles quit. The feeling is that Joe Ingles was just really disappointed.
Yeah.
Almost to the point of embarrassment. And then by the time you pick your head up, I mean, in this league, you blink and they're over half court.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time he picked his head up, there was nothing he was going to do about getting back defensively, and it left Bojan Bogdanovic to make a terrible decision on Devin Booker and not step into the lane to make him give the basketball up, and it led to an easy transition basket, which led to an argument. There was a discussion in the huddle during that timeout about that effort, and then after the game, Quinn Snyder is addressing that effort.
Yeah.
And then, you look at it, it's a trickle-down effect. You look at Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside's getting exposed right now.
Yeah.
And listen, I understand that Hassan has talked about he has significant issues in his personal life that are impacting him. But the truth is, just about every NBA player will tell you the arena is where they go to get away from their life.
It is the escape.
And Hassan Whiteside, the problem with Hassan Whiteside claiming that, and there's a lot of people saying that he is being impacted because his daughter has COVID and he's got other issues off the floor, and that doesn't excuse the fact that you are not a try-hard guy because you haven't been a try-hard guy for 5 years. You got a huge extension in Miami and instantly turned into a zero. You were a problem almost immediately after the ink dried on that contract.
Yeah.
And probably before it. This is who Hassan Whiteside is. He's an incredible backup center. But I can't have Hassan Whiteside playing more than 15, 20 minutes a night because the effort goes down precipitously.
Yeah.
The more minutes he gets, the bigger his role, the more his effort goes down. And you just need to know that about Hassan Whiteside, which is why you paid him what you paid him and why he was available to you in the first place.
Agreed.
So
100%.
My point in all of this is that the Jazz are not used to losing like this. And losing is the old baseball adage from the natural, losing is a disease.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a cancer in a locker room. Mm-hmm. And you are seeing that in front of you, and it is essentially splayed out for everybody to see.
Yes.
And it is ugly, and it is something that you have to proactively stop.
And that's where my mind goes about this whole situation. I don't disagree with anything you said there, but the overreaching point of, the Joe Ingles situation or Hassan Whiteside or this Rudy and his teammates and Donovan Mitchell, trade rumors and all this stuff. Like the overreaching point is that this team lacks leadership. That's what I keep coming back to. I look at Brooklyn. You don't hear any of this stuff coming out of Brooklyn, do you? I mean, the only thing you hear coming out of Brooklyn is that Philly wants James Harden and that James Harden is the problem. That James Harden is frustrated with Kyrie being a part-time teammate, basically. But you don't hear issues about Kevin Durant and Kyrie and, like they're good. The organization as a whole is good. You only hear about James Harden. Look at LeBron James. Look at the Lakers, this Russell Westbrook situation. You made a point the other day, I think it was Tuesday on the show. Notice that when the media was asking LeBron James about Russell Westbrook and his shot or lack thereof, frankly, what did LeBron do? LeBron didn't tear him down. LeBron built him up. LeBron defended Russell Westbrook leaving the arena after he got benched, So I just think that the leadership piece is missing from this team right now. And that's why I think no matter what's going on, if you're Donovan Mitchell, you can't have it both ways. You want to be a star. You want to be the best in the league. You want to win championships. You want to do all this great stuff. Well, that inherently comes with the responsibility of leading your team and being the poster child of the success and failure, just like any other star in the league. And that's what I think is missing.
And the hard part is, and again, this is just me, I think the hard part is that you have a guy in Donovan Mitchell that you need to be a leader. Because when you look at, I think the Lakers situation is a very good parallel here.
Yeah.
Because you have a guy in Russell Westbrook who's been nothing short of an abject failure in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He has been a disaster for the LA Lakers. You haven't heard the Lakers crumbling in and falling apart of each other. Look at what happened with Carmelo Anthony in Philadelphia last night.
Yeah.
And everybody defended him. Even Joel Embiid stepped in and defended Carmelo Anthony. The Lakers are a lot of things. They are not a team that lacks leadership, and they are not a team that lacks chemistry.
Yeah.
And by the way, Carmelo's a really good point as well. He has been a combustible personality. He has been a polarizing figure on several teams. Denver in particular.
Yeah.
Houston in particular, where they sent him home. He has not been that in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron has not been that in L.A. Russell Westbrook has not been that in L.A., and that situation could have imploded on itself. Anthony Davis has not been that in L.A. Who have you heard?
After the street closed.
Yeah,
Davis.
who have you heard criticizing Anthony Davis, who, by the way, was hurt again last night? But who have you heard criticizing Anthony Davis in Los Angeles? Nobody. They're not out in the media. And you know the worst part about situations like this deal with the Jazz is that you have, when situations like this go bad, you start hearing about the inner workings of a team, and you start hearing about the ugliest parts of a team.
Yeah.
You're not hearing about that with the Lakers. You're not hearing about that with the Nets. Because, again, and I think that the Nets are also a really good point by you. The Nets have 3 veteran superstars who are used to this.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if it's Brooklyn or Salt Lake City. They know how to conduct themselves.
Remember Kevin Durant and the Steph Curry situation? And, hey,
Yes.
Kevin wouldn't play through injury, and then he popped his Achilles. And Kevin's been through this before. He knows what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of these situations where the Jazz don't know how to win yet.
Yeah.
They don't have a bunch of guys who have been championship caliber players. And it's Chris Paul in Phoenix, again, another really good example. They lost in the finals. You go one of two ways. When you get to the finals and you lose, you go one of two ways. You either go up, you return, and you win the NBA championship, or you fall off the face of the map and it's time to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And the Phoenix Suns are better this year than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker is a better player this year than he was last year. Mikal Bridges got better in the offseason.
Yep.
And it's because, well, one, they're younger, absolutely. But I'm telling you, guys like Chris Paul and JaVale McGee, who have competed at the top of the league, JaVale McGee's got multiple championships. I'm telling you, those are the guys that you need on your squad.
Yeah.
Because they help your younger guys come along and grow. They make your coaches better coaches. They make your second-tier players better second-tier players.
Yeah.
So I think all of those things are missing from the Utah Jazz locker room. And that's why you're hearing about infighting. That's why you're hearing about guys like, Rudy Gobert getting into it with his teammates. Rudy Gobert's never won anything. Rudy Gobert's never been a championship player. He has never been the focal point of an entire organization built around him to win a championship.
Like Joel Embiid is.
Yeah, like Rudy Gobert is right now.
Yeah.
And it's not going well. That's why in this league and in this culture of the NBA, you have to build your team around a guy that absolutely can carry you. That's Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert cannot carry a team on his own because he cannot score the ball on his own. And I know that seems trivial or simplistic.
It's the truth.
But in this league, Steph Curry carries the Golden State Warriors. LeBron James carries the LA Lakers. Kevin Durant, they are not the same Brooklyn Nets team without Kevin Durant, and he's out for 6 weeks.
Listen, dude, anybody who tells you that being the best at something doesn't matter has never been the best at anything. I mean, whether you're at the office or in the NBA, being the best and outperforming everybody is what allows you to have the responsibility of leading other people because you're doing it at a higher level, and they look to you for leadership and comfortability in the hard times, and that's why I say, like, Don needs to come back. Don needs to come back more than Rudy needed to come back.
They need him tonight. I will go this far. I think, my God, that's a great point. I think Donovan Mitchell needs to be on the floor without Rudy Gobert. I think Donovan Mitchell needs to feel the weight.
Are they saying he's probable?
Though he is probable tonight. There is a good likelihood. My guy at the Jazz that I spoke to last night. By the way, I want to talk about the media and the Jazz in a minute. But they feel like Donovan Mitchell has a very good chance to play tonight.
That's every day.
And we'll see. We'll see how all that works out. But you know what? I think when you look at Donovan Mitchell, I think Donovan Mitchell needs to feel the weight of the world and play well through that.
Yeah.
And grow and learn and be, you know what? To be, a hyperbole, I mean, he needs to become a man right in front of our eyes right now.
Mm-hmm.
They need him to become the alpha male on this ball club.
Yep.
I'm a man.
Desperately. But real quick before I get to your comments, because I see a bunch of you commenting. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching this video right now, please give us a thumbs up. Absolutely. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. We're giving away this Xbox Series X right here on the table. I mean, it's 4K gaming, folks. What more do you want? It's 120 frame rates per second, MFers.
Lidocaine and B12.
Anyway, the point is, hit subscribe. You have to be subscribed to win the Xbox Series X. By the way, if you buy one of our T-shirts, the Monty Show T-shirts, you get 5 entries into the Xbox, and we're giving that away when we get to 3,000. And let me just tell you.
Got a couple of these bad boys left. When our artist gets back from vacation, running out a new design.
Let's see. We are at 2930. Wow.
Oh, damn.
We had a big day yesterday. 2930. We are 70 subs away from giving away this Xbox Series X.
I'm going to say this again.
DM me on the T-shirt. It's only $25. I think we have 4 or 5 left.
5 times entries.
XL and 2XL is all we have right now.
Come on, man.
5 times the entries if you buy a T-shirt for every one of somebody who did not.
Just saying, this is $800. This is $25.
Yeah, I think the Xbox Series X is the most in-demand unit. By the way, follow me on TikTok because we're also giving away a PS5.
You're casual.
Well, yeah, be a casual. Follow me on TikTok, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show.
Yeah.
There's the PS5 we're giving away that Jake's holding up. All you have to do is be a follower on TikTok at 5,000 followers. We're going to give that away.
Breathtaking immersion.
It's amazing.
Lightning
8K
speed.
gaming.
Stunning games.
PS5.
Okay, enough of that crap.
Real quick on the Jazz and the media.
Yeah.
It's been very interesting talking to people around the league and talking to people about the Utah Jazz. I just happen to be, I know a lot of people. I've been in the media game. I've covered the NBA for 20 years, more than that. I've been very fortunate to be around, the LA Lakers during the Kobe and Shaq championships, the Pau Gasols. Like, I've been around some really good teams.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people. I have just spent a lot of time. I've built a lot of relationships. What is very interesting is I have never seen a relationship with the media the way the Jazz have their relationship built with the media. And it's really funny to talk to people around the Jazz and hear them talk about our podcast and our show.
Mm-hmm.
And know that the competition has an edict not to talk about our podcast, not to talk about the things we report. Like our main competitors, there's an edict not to talk about the things that we report on our show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that the Utah Jazz are well aware that, for instance, the Salt Lake Tribune needs the Utah Jazz. And that if the Salt Lake Tribune reports, hey, Rudy Gobert, is, the center of turmoil in the Utah Jazz locker room, they'd be exiled. They would not, the Salt Lake Tribune's ability to cover the Jazz would be severely disabled.
Yes.
If they were to report that. And that's the relationship that the Jazz have with the media as the only game in town. They are the only professional franchise in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at BYU runs their ship just about the same way. And people in the media, those members of the media, are not willing to challenge that. They are not willing to take the risk that they may, that they are on the outside looking in.
Well, and I think part of that, too, is the one thing that really stands out, and we've talked about this on the show before, is that there isn't an independent media outlet here covering the team. And that's what I think leads to the very clear lack of accountability questions that don't get asked. They're never asked the tough question or the poignant question. Like, let me, as an example of a poignant question,
Yes.
what I'm referencing. I'm going to play you this question that Doc Rivers was asked about Ben Simmons after Ben Simmons didn't dunk in Game 7 against the Atlanta Hawks. Just listen to this question, because this is the question that does not get asked in the Jazz media.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
Pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward.
Do you think Ben Simmons can be a championship point guard on this team with championship aspirations?
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Nobody would ever ask that question in this
Nobody.
town. And it's remarkable to me that the Jazz get a free pass here. And what is so flagrantly obvious is that that's the way that the media here is comfortable covering the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have never understood that.
Yeah, to be clear, this isn't a Jazz problem. Let's just be really clear. This is not a Utah Jazz problem. This is a media issue. That's what it is. And I just think so. Like we've mentioned before on the show before today, it's always been funny to me that the competition, if you will, if we want to call them competition, because I don't really even view them like that. But if you want to call them competition, sure. So the competition who's on the actual radio wants to call us hacks and wants to take us down and be disrespectful, but yet there's an edict not to ever mention us. So that's what I think is funny about the media here.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not going to name them, but yeah, let's hate on them.
One particular show on 1280 and 97.5 The Zone, on a daily basis, refers to us as hacks. I can't remember how they described me, as like a former local radio hack who's desperate to get back in. I will never, in all likelihood, I will never work in local media again. Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
Take a serious look at it. Think about it.
I mean, think about that. We have the advantage that we have is the same advantage that I've always had. I'm not affiliated with anybody. I didn't go to BYU or Utah. I didn't grow up a Jazz fan. I have no loyalty one way or the other. My opinion is completely unbiased and based on relationships and facts and things that people tell me. And it's just hysterical to me that the media in this town refuses to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Just out and out refuses to do their job. It's funny to me.
Because they're comfortable. And again, with all due respect to the Utah Jazz are never going to say two words to the media about anything because the media is not saying two words to the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
So they have this nice little cool kids club where the media doesn't ask the Jazz tough questions. The Jazz don't have to answer tough questions. And everyone goes about their business.
And 9 days out of 10, nobody's going to say, why has nobody asked Donovan Mitchell, hey, have you asked to be traded? There are reports in the media that, Donovan, you asked to be traded, or that your people in your circle or yourself feel like you are too big. Your brand is too big for Salt Lake City. Is there any truth to that? Can you please address that directly? Nobody has asked him that.
Why?
Nobody. Why not? Why has nobody asked that? Why is nobody asking Rudy Gobert if he has a problem with the officials?
Oh, that's right, because all of them work for an affiliate that needs the Utah Jazz. That's right. That's right.
And I don't understand, and this is why I say I don't expect that from the guys that work at the Zone Sports Network or at KSL. I mean, they're essentially owned by the Utah Jazz. Quite literally, the Zone is owned by the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that out of anybody at the Zone, and I totally understand that.
Facts.
But when I look at, like ESPN 700 doesn't send guys to the game. And you look at a guy like Spence Checketts in this town. Spence would rather sit in seats with his friends, and Spence is never going to stir the pot on the Jazz.
Yeah.
Who are they? Who works at ESPN 700 that's going to go and ask a legitimate question of Quinn Snyder or Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert? Who's going to do that? Whether you're on a Zoom call or you're in person. With COVID, you're usually on a Zoom call. Who's going to ask? Why is a guy like Andy Larson not asked, hey, Donovan. I would assume that he's got Donovan's cell phone number, that they have I would think you're the main beat guy, Andy Larson, for the Jazz. I would assume he's got Donovan's number. I would assume they have a relationship, right? You would think. How have you not asked Donovan Mitchell, hey, is any of this true? Just even because you know he's going to say, no, absolutely not. That's not true. Great. I asked Donovan Mitchell. He flatly denied that he has ever said that his brand is too big for Salt Lake City. He's flatly denied that he has demanded a trade.
So that Rick Buka report is trash. Why is that so difficult?
How come nobody's asked that question? And it just goes to show you, and it's the same thing. Like, I get more flack for the things we've reported about BYU than anything about the Jazz or anybody else. And everybody's like, you don't know people at BYU. Guy, I've known people at BYU since like the third day I got here. Mm-hmm. One of the best stories I have about Salt Lake City is, and I don't remember where we were. It may have been City Center. I don't remember. Gunther and I were having lunch like the third day that I worked here. And the Grizzlies the Utah Grizzlies, the hockey club, were having their preseason media gathering. Gunther and I met for lunch after, or for like a late lunch or something after that. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm driving home and my cell phone rings and it's a guy at BYU trying to like figure out where I stood and, hey, what kind of relationship? You're the new program director at 1320K Fan. What kind of relationship are we going to have? Like, okay, I get it. BYU is very proactive with the media. Very. I've known guys at BYU since the third day I worked here.
There is no question.
And I still know them.
Yeah.
Right? And Riley and Riley, your comment got filtered because you said I was full of shit. But what have he essentially said, you're full of shit. What have you ever gotten right on BYU?
Oh, well, I don't know. Let's start listing things.
Well, Kalani Sitake's contract. Did anybody listen to Tom Holmoe yesterday? What did Tom say during his media session yesterday? Hey, during that whole contract situation, Kalani and I talked every day. What did I tell you in that moment? And go back and look. It's on Twitter and it's on this show.
Yeah.
What did I tell you on that about that situation? Tom Holmoe and Kalani Sitake have a good relationship. The issue is above Tom Holmoe. It is in the hands of the university. And that, hey, who was the first one to report they were talking to Kalani about an extension? We were the first ones to report that.
Who was the first one to report that Kalani talked to the Oregon Ducks to gain leverage in the contract situation?
I believe we were. And
3 days later, it came out that he was talking to Oregon.
And it's all relationships that we've had for going on 10 years now.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this applies to Twitter and guys like Riley. You can come in here and say we're full of shit. That's fine. If you want to be that guy, that's 100% fine. But the track record speaks for itself. And the beautiful thing, and this is what I think we on this show have an advantage of over any radio show of all time. Everything that we say on this show lives forever on this YouTube channel.
And it's easy to find.
It's not hard to find. Go to our YouTube channel, click the little search, magnifying glass icon, and type in whatever you want. Jaxson Dart. Who's been saying the stuff about Jaxson Dart? We have. This guy has. It's not in question, dude. It is not in question what's going on. Man, who said the Jazz were never going to make a major trade?
Dennis
6
Lindsay.
months
Wait
ago.
a minute. Who was the first one in Salt Lake City to report Dennis Lindsay was
Oh,
out?
you're an idiot, and you don't know what you're talking about, and Dennis Lindsay is some beloved figure. You got this guy right here saying that Dennis Lindsay didn't do a good enough job. In the day, let's even go back further than that. Let's start with the Rudy Gobert contract. The day that contract came out, what did we say? That contract is an albatross on this team. That is a chain around this team's neck, and they will never win a championship with him on the roster. We've been saying that since the exact day that came out.
It's just that the thing that's interesting to me is that it is, you'll never get the truth unless and to his credit, I mean, the guy that I think has the best information on the Jazz is Tony Jones, because he works for The Athletic. Mm-hmm. But, locally, I think it's probably Ben Anderson, who you're not a huge fan of.
I'm not. I'm not.
And I think Ben is really the only one who is, who has gone directly to Donovan Mitchell. But I just want somebody to ask Donovan Mitchell, hey, did your inner circle say? Because I think one national guy was reporting that Donovan demanded a trade. I am telling you, a person high up in the Jazz organization told me last night that's never happened. And I believe him. I don't believe that Donovan Mitchell's asked for a trade. I do not believe his inner circle is in his ear telling him he's too big for Salt Lake City.
My biggest issue, truth be told, and I hope all these guys are listening, my biggest issue is Ben Anderson, Andy Larson, and Sarah Todd have access to the team that we'll never have access to.
Yeah.
Yet all they ever do is do basic-ass content on the team. You don't write deep, well thought out, like, hey, this is what I can get access to for the people that read my stuff. You have a responsibility in the media, and this is what no one talks about. In the media, when you have a media credential, which we'll never be able to get because we're technically not media, when you have a media credential, you have a responsibility to the people who are going to read your content. I don't want to read, hey, yeah, Rudy and Don are fighting, and that's just what's going on. That's the best you can do for us? I want details. I want to understand, hey, where did all this begin? Like, I just want more depth. And that's what annoys me about, like, the Spence Checketts of the world. I don't listen to Spence. I don't listen to anybody here because I don't feel like their takes are deep. There's no depth to them. And I'm not saying that we're the best show ever and we're the Jesus Christ of content. But what I can tell you is you're never going to come here and get like casual ass, like, just not well thought out content.
We don't dip our toe in the water.
Like, we're going to go and get to it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. That's why we're talking about it. Come in here and disagree with us. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Ben DBTZ. Hello. Nice to meet you. Ben Anderson did ask Donovan Mitchell if he wanted to be traded. Y'all don't even know. Well, frankly, I don't, where would I have found that out? Did he write that somewhere? Did he
write it? Did he put it in a paper? Did he tweet it? Like, go find it for me.
Frankly, I don't listen to, I don't have the occasion to listen to Ben on the radio very often. I would if I could. I just don't have that window in time for me is taken up on a daily basis. I mean, I hear Spence Checketts pretty much probably three times a week. I hear Spence, but I don't listen to Ben. So I would love to see that answer. James Knight says, what do you expect Donovan to say if the question was directed at him? Come on, please. You have to ask him.
You don't understand.
You have to ask him that. Hey, did you or your inner circle, do you guys believe? Somebody please ask Donovan Mitchell, did you or do your inner circle believe, and are they in your ear telling you that your brand is too big for this market?
It's not a trap question. You're doing Don a favor.
Yes.
You're asking him a question to allow him to answer that question and control the narrative about the situation.
To hell with doing him a favor. That's your journalistic responsibility. He's the best player on the Jazz. There's a national report from Rick Bucher that says your inner circle claims you're too big for Salt Lake City, and that if you go out in the first round, you're going to be a New York Knick. Is there any truth to that? If somebody would ask him that, you're right, James, what would he say? No, there's no truth to that. Great. Donovan Mitchell denied that.
And if Ben Anderson asked that question, I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. DM us. SLC Supercars on Twitter. Send it to me. I'd love to see it, honestly.
Yeah. Monty, did you get my message on Tony Jones' podcast? It's called Game Notes, and it's on once a week, Cody Strickland said.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't know he did a podcast.
Yeah, he goes on. Yeah, he goes on a podcast. You know, it's good. I like Tony, man. I don't have any issue with Tony. I think, as I was just saying, like, I think Tony has great depth to what he writes. That's my issue with the other people. I don't feel like there's much depth to it. I feel like it's very generic, very vanilla. I'm not
Tony
like, damn.
Jones, the thing with Tony Jones is Tony Jones goes to them and talks to them.
Yeah.
Tony goes to players and says, hey, XYZ. And then he writes XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the source. He doesn't pussyfoot around it. He talks to the guy.
Yeah.
That's the hard part with COVID is you're very detached from the players and the coaches.
Right.
You're over a Zoom call. You watch the game. You meet the media sessions are now over video. It's a very difficult excuse me, it's a very difficult way to do your job.
Yeah.
So I get it. I hate Sarah Todd. I think Sarah Todd is a good feature writer. I do. I don't hate any of them.
Yeah, I don't hate them.
It's
but
not
but
personal.
I don't hate them, but I don't have to. I don't have some obligation to say that I enjoy their writing. I mean, yeah,
Correct.
She does like for what she does. Yeah, she does an okay job. Again, I don't have a responsibility to be like, yeah, Sarah Todd's the best writer that we've ever seen in Salt Lake. I'm never going to say that, and it's no shade to Sarah Todd. I just expect when you have a media credential and you get to ask players questions, that you'll watch every single Jazz game front to back, and you will be engaged and getting depth out of these players.
This is a relationship business.
Yeah.
And all I would, this is going to sound self-aggrandizing. I'm patting myself on the back. Call it what you want to call it. The very fact that people like me and Jake, who don't have access, have more information that is routinely been proven right, and we don't even get to go to games on a credential or talk to guys directly. We have to do everything through text or DM or fucking vanish mode, which I hate. You know, like,
bro, if we had a credential,
how is that possible?
Dude, if we had a credential, we would own this town. I can guarantee you that.
And I don't even think it's about that. I don't want this to turn into we're great and you guys are, because it's not what it is. My point is, you know who we need more from? We need more from ESPN 700. You need competition. There is no competition in this town. You need in my opinion, Salt Lake City needs ESPN 700 to become a full-fledged sports talk radio outlet. Give me a morning show, give me an afternoon show, give me a reporter.
But that's never going to happen because that's just not the mentality in the radio industry anymore. So we need the Salt Lake market needs somebody, whether that's us or somebody else who has no affiliation to the Jazz and isn't owned by the team and doesn't have that inherent, issue. You need someone who's independent, who has a media credential to go in and when COVID's over, ideally, to make video content and then push out spoken word content like we do every single day. So yeah, it's not about us being the best, but what I can tell you is if I had a media credential, when COVID's over, I'd be in that damn locker room every single night. I'd be making video content for you guys to watch. I'd be talking about it. Like, I'd be in that team, dude. I would be in that team.
Yep. Dane says, morning, guys. Got an interview today internally. Hope it goes well. Good luck,
Let's
man.
go, Dane. Come on,
luck,
bro.
Dane.
Let's go.
Giggity says, morning, fellas. James Knight says, here we go. More Rudy bashing. Snuka says, buenos dias. Buenos dias. Mariachi. Jeremy Bolton says, howdy, everyone. JP Shanahan says, say it ain't so. Edgar Garcia says, Donovan, I feel like it's going to give the Jazz 3 to 5 years to show they can win at least one championship. If they can't get it together, he'll leave. I think that's everybody. I think Donovan Mitchell, I think this summer is a critical tipping point for Donovan Mitchell's career with the Jazz. I think if they tear this thing to the ground and they win 25 games next year, okay, Donovan, I think, could be fine with that if they're improving for 2 years from now. If a year from now they've won 10 games and there's light at the end of the tunnel, okay, we're having a different conversation.
Yeah.
James Knight says, listen, every team in the NBA bitches about the officials. Take the blinkers off, casuals. I would say that not every team handles it the way Rudy Gobert handles it. There is a way.
This is James saying this.
Yes, there is a way to bitch at the officials. There's a way to do that. You don't wave your hands and scream at them face to face. If you watch guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant never yells at the officials. Kevin Durant walks over and talks to them. How many times will you see Kevin Durant put his hand on an official's shoulder and talk to him? They want respect. They're going to miss calls. Rudy Gobert probably gets fouled or fouls somebody on every single possession. They're not going to blow the whistle every single time. They don't call holding in the NFL every single time.
No.
That's not the reality of it. And I think the problem is Rudy whines and complains and holds his face and every single time. And it wears on officials. He has a reputation as somebody that will flop and fake calls.
Yeah.
And that's why he does not get some of the calls. Frankly, he doesn't get calls he should get. He doesn't. And again, a good example of this is DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is an MVP candidate in this league. I think it was last Saturday night, got like hacked on his arm. No call. He turned around, looked at the official, put his arms up, and ran down the floor. Did not make some big thing, did not yell and scream, and never said 2 words after that.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy carries it 2-3 trips up and down the floor, and you'll see he'll be talking to an official, pointing at his face, and like 2-3 possessions later.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's over. And by the way, you owe it to your teammates. You're the best defensive player in the league. Get your ass down the floor.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
The art of dealing with the officials is lost on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
That's as simple as I can say it. Giggity, good morning. He says, does it sound like Quinn has lost the locker room? I don't know. I was told directly yesterday that Jazz don't believe he's lost the locker room, that it is a lack of self-accountability and execution among the players.
Yeah. It begins and ends with Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know. I don't know if he's lost the team or not. He's been here, going on 10 years? It's awfully difficult to keep a team for 10 years as a head coach. It's very difficult. The blind swordsman, James, he does, but he still needs to stop arguing with the officials on any team. That should bug you when someone does that. It does.
Yeah.
I agree. Dwayne Boone, good morning to you, sir. On a positive note, I like some of the young guys on the team. Pascal attacks the basket like I wish others on the team would. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, and you have two sides of the story here. You've got guys like Pascal. You've got guys like Jared Butler. You've got guys like Elijah Hughes. You know, you've got that sect of the team that's going to work their ass off and do everything they can and give you 110%, even if the ball's not going in the hole. You know, and then you have the veteran group of guys who's not working hard right now. So that, I mean, we talked about that on Tuesday. I think that's a real thing. I think, and again, it's amazing to me now that we're talking through this. I literally just think, not that this is criticism of Don, but I think it's just the reality of the situation with the team. Everything comes back to him because he's the best player on the team.
Correct.
So he has to be the glue that brings everything back together, which is why I say I really hope he plays tonight. I would love nothing more than John Morant versus Donovan Mitchell. I would love that.
Yeah, me too. But Don's got to get this concussion thing figured out. Neville93 says none of the Jazz or the Suns are going to the All-Star game. What the hell? Well, they're not starters. But then again, Andrew Wiggins was voted a starter. That tells you. And this is part of the thing, though, with Donovan. This is actually a really good point.
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors obviously have a much larger fan base, but their whole goal is to get guys in the All-Star game. They run marketing campaigns for it.
Yeah.
Are the Jazz doing that for Donovan and Rudy?
Don't think so.
Probably not. Cody Strickland says, at this point, I want Rudy to call out his teammates. They need to step up and be better. I agree with that. And we have seen Donovan Mitchell without Rudy. He sucks. He's a 17-point player on 7 of 21 shooting. I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the best players in the NBA. I'd have to go through it, but I would put him in the top 25. Donovan Mitchell's a special, special talent. And this team is not built for him to succeed. So I don't know what his top end is yet. We need to find that out. Dwayne Boone says, generally, I don't wake up as early as you sunshine boys do. Well, Dwayne, we appreciate you being here, man. Jeremy Bolton says, hey, Neville93, but hey, Wiggins is starting. The All-Star game voting is a complete joke. Yes, it is for starters.
Agreed.
DBTZ says the Xbox Series S retails at $500, Jakey boy, unless you scalped it.
It's an X.
It is right, and I think it's $499. The one that's expensive is the PS5. It's like $800.
Yeah,
it's stupid expensive. Every single player on the team needs to show accountability. Well, and that's part of the issue with Rudy Gobert, DB, is that he did not take well when they said to him, when people have talked to him about the officials.
Bro, this discussion is as it goes all the way back to playing schoolyard basketball. If you're not the best player on the team, you shouldn't be talking. That's just what it is. And Rudy Gobert is the try-hard guy, the effort guy.
He is, yes.
Hey, I play great defense, and I was hurt, and you guys struggled, so now I get to run my mouth. And it's like, no, dude, that's not – the culture on the team doesn't dictate that you get to call out all your teammates. What should have happened is he should have gone to Donovan Mitchell, and he should have said, hey, man, like, I really feel like we got an effort problem right now. And, you know, you're Donovan Mitchell, and you're kind of the face of our team.
We are the leaders of this team. What are we going to do about it?
I need you to say X, Y, and Z. Would you be open to that? But that's not the relationship they have.
And I think the other unspoken truth on this team is Mike Conley is aging. And Mike Conley,
Where is his leadership at?
I don't, and I'm probably making too much of it. His finishing ability is he's struggling right now. And I don't know if he's just not shooting well in the paint. I don't know, but this contract is going to come back to haunt them next year.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I love Mike Conley. I understand why they brought him back. I understand why they increased the luxury tax to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not producing for you right now, and he's not a leader. He's a very quiet, unassuming
on this team,
guy.
He is not.
He is a quiet, unassuming guy.
Which I think is a little surprising. I think part of the reason you brought him back was that.
I should retract that. Mike Conley is a leader. He is not a vocal, outspoken, call a guy out kind of personality.
Yeah.
He's not. Let's say Spencer Morgan. Good morning. Good to see you, dude. Quinn's sticking with starters who aren't performing instead of giving minutes to players or earning it like Pascal and House is really hurting the culture. Amen to that.
Frank Vogel, I'm going to play the guys that I think can win the game.
Amen to that. Spencer also says he won't bench a player for performing badly, but he will bench them for questioning his decisions. Yeah, I agree. Juan Baracco says, hi, guys. I asked Quinn about the Donovan Mitchell small market issue by Brian Windhorst. Since that day, I've never got the chance to ask again via Zoom.
So you're in the media.
What do you do? DBTZ, Jeremy Bolton says, Rick Bucher is a hack. That dude has always had it out for the Jazz. Dude is a complete bum.
See, but here's the thing, and I get it. I understand that the Bucher thing isn't true. I mean, clearly, based on the information we have, it's just not true. But the thing that I get a little bit burned on, and I'm not trying to criticize you, bro, but when those guys went on the radio and started calling us hacks, the only thing that I don't like about that, for us, is that it's just an unprofessional take. Oh, he's a hack. It can't be true. Well, he's doing his job, right? Like Rick Bucher. Think about it logically. What was the success of what Rick Bucher did? He was on Twitter the whole week, dude. Everybody was talking about it, bro. Everybody. So that actually was successful. He did his job.
I don't even know what he does now.
Me either. Who gives a damn? His name's
sure
out there,
does,
right?
yeah.
So now he's got all this attention. So he did his job.
Jeremy Bolton says, the only thing you have wrong about BYU is Jaron Hall. His mom is hot, and he's going to go down as one of the greats. Deal with it.
You're casual.
Yeah. Whoa. Comment dump. My bad. Chris Carne was going to read your comment, but Chris Carne says, Monty, some people let their fan status cloud their judgment. Keep preaching truth. It's why we come here. Now let's talk about the Arlington Park Bears. James? Yeah! Or Chris?
James, Chris,
Steve,
Donnie.
same thing.
Come on, man.
Chris, don't bring up Arlington Heights yet, please. I'm just not ready.
They're still racing horses there, okay?
Hey, they're the Eberflus Bears.
Yeah.
Cody Strickland says, Monty, did you get my message on Tony Jones? I read that one already. Sorry about that. If you give 25 minutes to spare once a week, I suggest you listen to the Tony Jones podcast because he talks about the issues you guys have questions for. Okay, I promise you I will listen to it. I will listen to it. Can you talk about Jaxson Dart? You predicted he would go to BYU. No, I did not predict he'd go to BYU.
Actually, no, we didn't.
What I said was, and I took a lot of heat for it. I told you that as soon as he was in the portal, BYU was on that. And they were talking to Jaxson Dart. So here's what happened with Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart enrolled at Ole Miss yesterday. He is now officially, and I looked at it, he is officially a student at Ole Miss. He's going to Ole Miss. And essentially, BYU, the minute he went in the portal, BYU was on it. They were in constant contact with him. Kalani has a good relationship with them, with Jackson and his family. Jaxson Dart was all in on talking to BYU. But when you're going up against a guy like Lane Kiffin, the truth of the matter is Lane Kiffin ran an anti-BYU campaign in that he told Jaxson Dart, hey, you're going to go to the Big 12 and struggle, which is true. Jaxson Dart would have been the starting quarterback for BYU going to the Big 12, and you're going to struggle. They're going to lose a lot of games early on in the Big 12. It's the reality.
Curve, bro.
Yeah, it's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
What Lane Kiffin sold Jaxson Dart on was play in a massive football game of consequence every single week. Play in front of huge crowds, play on national TV, come with me to Oxford, Mississippi, and let's compete at the top of the SEC.
Yeah.
Because there's no better way, whether you agree or disagree, and I actually disagree, Lane, but there's no better way to get into the NFL and be an important player than to win at the top of the SEC. So I got news for you. My opinion is that you can come to BYU and be drafted highly as a quarterback. But the issue is you're not going to play in huge games at BYU every week. That's just the bold-faced truth.
Yeah.
When you go to Ole Miss and you have the success that Lane Kiffin is having at Ole Miss, you're going to play in big games every single week.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it in the SEC. And you're going to go to Alabama, and you're going to go to Georgia. You're going to go to Florida.
And I think that's the difference.
You're going to play in a massive rivalry that's just a notch below Utah BYU. But Mississippi and Ole Miss, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, that's a rivalry. And it's tough to tell a kid like Jaxson Dart, who went to USC to be a legend. Jaxson Dart cares about being a really good football player.
Yeah.
That's a high-character kid. Jaxson Dart is a very good football player. And Jaxson Dart's going to be the starting quarterback at Ole Miss. And I think that's the other thing. Jaxson Dart would have had to earn a job at BYU. Well, he is the presumed starter at Ole Miss on a team that's going to play in an awful lot of big games. And he's got a huge personality as a coach that's nationally prominent in Lane Kiffin. There's not a lot to not like about Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jaxson Dart would have flourished at BYU. I think he would have been the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to fault the kid for the choice he made.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest about it. It's hard to fault him. I think BYU's biggest issue is you have an injury-prone quarterback now in Jaron Hall. You've lost Baylor Romney to the portal, and I'm not convinced that Baylor Romney is going to play big-time football again. But I think when you look at least, and if he transferred somewhere, I haven't heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize if I missed that, but I don't think he has. But I look at Jacob Conover. Jacob Conover now becomes a very important figure in BYU football because you don't have the fallback veteran this time, right? Like if Jaxson Dart had gone to BYU, he's probably the starter. Jaron's the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
One of those two guys is going to get hurt. You probably need 3 quarterbacks to get through a season at BYU's level, right? Because you're not going to have elite offensive line play.
Yep.
So your quarterback's going to take some. And quarterbacks around college football get hurt. Football is a very painful sport. I do not fault Jaxson Dart one single bit.
Yeah.
He did what he thought was best for him. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. By the way, this isn't about an NIL thing. Somebody tweeted at me last night that he went to Ole Miss because they're going to put money in his pockets. Dude, the day of the bag man, the day of the booster with $1 million, fund, you don't need that anymore. You have name, image, likeness now.
Yeah.
It's not about that anymore. To me, if you're Jaxson Dart, you're going to get paid. The guy is beautiful. He's a good-looking dude. He is a nice kid.
That eye black looks really good.
You know the thing that really annoys me? Where has Utah been on Jaxson Dart?
That's what I'm.
This is the second time.
Like, bruh.
I
You just said that earlier in the week. Like,
I know. I thought that was a good point by you.
It's amazing to me that Utah never is in these conversations ever. It's just, I don't know, man. I have no idea.
You guys have no sources. Shut up.
Yeah, sure. We don't have any sources. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, sure, man.
Fat Jesus says Monty the hero Salt Lake City deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Probably true.
Yeah.
Brylark said again, when was the last time a player complained to an official and the official was like, oh, hey, yeah, you're right. I'll change the call. Never.
Yeah, but here's the difference. The guys who have a relationship with the official, they get the no call they need. They get the call they need. They
get that
later in the
fourth
game,
quarter, last 5-minute whistle that a lot of hey, look, you're a casual.
You're a casual.
Rudy Gobert should get calls that Nurkic, that Cousins, that any other
Jokic
is getting calls. He's a superstar in this league. He's an MVP. Nikola Jokic is getting calls.
Yeah, man.
He's getting calls that Rudy Gobert is not. I mean, that's the facts. Alex says, announce Marcus Smart to the Jazz. I wish I could. MGTV says, do you think Donovan would really want to leave? I do. Yeah, I do.
I think before his career is over, he'll be a Knick.
Jeremy
eventually.
Bolton says, I'll start another local radio station with you guys. We'll call it Hey Guys. Guys.
You're casual.
Tanner Plummer Radio. Fat Jesus has always fire comments, Brylark says. He does. He's amazing. Fat Jesus is one of our favorite listeners. Wow, what happened here? James Knight, don't you think the All-Star game is meaningless? All it does is not allow top players to get much needed rest. It's a huge thing for fandom, though. The All-Star game is not about the player; it's about the fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. It is really enjoyable. Juan Barraco says, "I'm a reporter from Uruguay. I also cover the Jazz for Latin America, not professionally on TV. Hundreds of fans have that wants to know what's up. Don't know that language. Wanted to do something cool.
That's
good
awesome,
for you,
bro.
Juan.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Good for
bro.
you, dude. Look at the difference of why Conley didn't get a tech and Booker did for the same thing. Truth.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Because Mike Conley is a more polished communicator with the officials. And Devin Booker plays with a lot of emotion. That's one of the things I don't like about Devin. He flops. And I think he is a guy that, review it.
He can still be had a little bit.
Yes, he can. Dane says, look at the difference. Or no, I just read that. My bad. Tanner Plummer says, hey, guys, radio. I like it.
Never.
Gavin, Dale, do you think we could get Harrison Barnes at the deadline for Joe, JC, and a pick? But here's
Which pick?
Here's what I say. And by the way, there's no finer NBA reporter than Sam Amick. The guy is money. Good human being, good people, and a really good reporter.
Yeah.
Who linked Harrison Barnes to the Jazz. I don't know how you go and do that for a $20 million player because there's no value in it for the Kings. So what's the missing piece to that trade that we don't know about? Yes, I think the Jazz could end up with Harrison Barnes. I don't know how that would happen. The Jazz could end up with Jesus Christ. I'm not really sure what draft picks they're going to have to give to Mother Nature to get him.
God bless.
I don't know what that looks like for Harrison Barnes to come to the Jazz.
Yeah.
I don't believe that the Jazz can do it head to head. I don't. And the guy I talked to at the Jazz last night did say that they are essentially working the phones every hour of every day. They are really trying to infuse energy and culture into this organization.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, one of the things that Ryan Smith is big about is building a championship culture and then filling players in on the roster that fit that culture.
I wonder
And
what that looks like in his opinion.
I think what it looks like is guys that value each other and value the team.
Yeah.
And, this narrative, one of the things I'm worn out on is nobody wants to play in Salt Lake City. It doesn't matter what they want to do. When they get here, there's not a guy who's like, this sucks, I'm out. How many guys have ever said that? And by the way, you've never had Ryan Smith as an owner. The guy is absolutely a player's owner.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right. A couple other things I want to get to because, wow, it is already 36 past the hour. Here on the Monty Show, hit subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, please, right now. Hit like on the YouTube channel if you're listening. By the way, God bless you for listening on Spotify. We have had more Spotify listens this week than we have ever had before on the podcast. Thank you so much. Our number one audio podcast outlets by far are Apple and now Spotify. Stitcher Radio, peace, bro. I love you guys on Stitcher. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I should say thank you so much for listening to the show and watching the show on YouTube. I mean, it makes a huge difference to us. If I'm being totally honest, we don't make money on the show at all. Mainly because we have like over $1,000 in game consoles that we're giving away. So buying shirts from us, clicking like, subscribing to the channel, all of that makes a huge difference to us. So thank you so much for listening on the audio podcast. It really is. It really makes a difference to us. So thank you. So please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We're going to give away this Xbox Series X when we get to 3,000 subs on the old YouTube machine.
I want you to listen to me.
Listen to me right now. 2932. So 68.
Damn.
Yeah, 68
Bro,
subs to go.
We might be giving this thing away Monday.
Yeah,
This keeps
68
up.
subs to go. Appreciate that. No one wants to play in Salt Lake. Well, no one wants to play here now after look at the shit show that the Utah Jazz are now. That could change, though, Tanner says.
Yeah.
Let's talk about women in sports real quick. I want to talk about this Mina Kimes, Jeff Garcia thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't see it, Jeff Garcia, the former quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, savaged Mina Kimes yesterday on Twitter because Mina Kimes went on, I believe it was First Take, and said that the San Francisco 49ers are winning in spite of Jimmy Garoppolo. And that, essentially he is not the reason they are winning games.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I agree with her. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has played well enough not to lose games. But he has had, how many interceptions did the Rams drop on him to just get them into the playoffs? I'm not saying he's played awful football. He certainly has not been the reason they've won, in my opinion. She says that on ESPN. And Jeff Garcia goes on Twitter and says, who the hell is Mina Kimes? And when is the last time she threw a touchdown pass in a game? Never, ever, Jeff Garcia continued. Has she taken a snap or can truly understand the ability, the mindset, the physical and mental toughness that it takes to play QB position or any position in the NFL? By the way, why does it matter if she played in the NFL? Did Stephen A. Smith ever play in the NBA? Are you kidding me? Why does it matter that she didn't play in the NFL? She's paid to have an opinion on the NFL.
How many male commentators have never played in the NFL?
A ton.
Right? I've never played in the NFL.
A ton. And it's amazing to me. I just don't understand why it matters that Mina Kimes didn't play. Is Jeff Garcia ripping her because she's a woman?
I think that's low-key part of it, yeah. But I think Jeff is just being irresponsible. I think, and today's show is a good example, right? I mean, I think there's a line that you walk up to when you're talking about other people, and I think it really depends on the situation. Like, Mina Kimes never talked about Jeff, right? So Jeff is just going out and talking about her for whatever reason. I don't know if it makes him feel better or I don't know. Because it's it is a very aggressive and strong and out there take. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, I just want to ask, okay, do you feel better? Does that, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of benefit to him saying that, And I don't know, man. I was just surprised by this whole thing. I think Mina, for the record, does great work. I
would agree.
I think, number one, I think ESPN's done a phenomenal job since the Maria Taylor stuff, getting female talent and diversifying what they put on TV, and they've worked really hard to do that. And I think Mina's been part of that. And I think that Mina works her ass off just as her male colleagues do to provide good content and come with a great take.
But understand that Jeff Garcia was a journeyman quarterback. I mean, he's not a guy. Sure, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler, but Jeff Garcia never won a Super Bowl. He never won an MVP.
But the take of, hey, somebody didn't play sports, so they don't know, is a tired take. I mean, that's
very tired.
Dude,
take.
That thing has been. How many people have said that and look like idiots? So yeah, to answer your question directly, I can't definitively say that's why he said it, because she was a woman. But I do think when you go out and do things like this, it is a bad look. It does make it look like you're just a hater because she is a woman and because she is young and because she is a good-looking person and because she is really good at what she does. The
point is, I don't really... I don't know, maybe when I'm the lucky ones. I don't really care what she looks like. I agree with her. She's got a good opinion.
But I think it matters. When you look at a reporter, this is like the Erin Andrews thing. Part of the reason that Erin Andrews is so successful is because she looks really professional, she sounds really professional, and she delivers quality information in a professional way. That's the reality of the situation. You're not going to watch a news telecast with someone who's dressed like a slob and looks terrible. You're not going to do it. You're
going to be uncomfortable. I agree.
You're going to be thinking, what the hell is this person wearing? What's going on here? So it's not to say that Mina only has her job because she's a good-looking woman. Not at all. She's good at what she does. But I think there definitely is there is that side of TV. Hey, you got to look good. You got to play that
Oh,
part.
I agree. Whether you're a male or a female, you need to look good to be on TV. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're an athlete and you can be a slovenly looking fool. But I think in general, you have to be a better looking human being to be on TV. There's no doubt, which is why I was always on radio.
Right, yeah.
But my point is, I do think that Jeff Garcia attacked Mina Kimes because she's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, is he going after Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith or any of these other fools that are out there saying outlandish things that have no basis in
Max
fact?
Kellerman.
Like, how come he's not going after those guys? Because they'll go right back after him. Which, by the way, Mina Kimes kind of, I think has handled it really well. I don't understand. This has nothing to do with the fact that Mina Kimes, in my opinion, is a woman. I think it is, for Jeff Garcia, I think it's all about her being a woman. I have no issue with it. Mm-hmm. I agree with her. Mm-hmm. And I think what this is another example of Jeff Garcia going after somebody who doesn't share his opinion. And if you don't share his opinion, your opinion is wrong. And you're always going to be wrong. And it again galls me that we in this society can't have a fair exchange of opinions unless you agree with us.
Yeah.
Whether it's voting rights, whether it's vaccines, whether it's masks, whatever it is. Oh, you disagree with me? Okay, you're an idiot.
You're a hack.
Right? Like, exactly. And it just is,
You're a casual.
It's absolutely separating. Yeah, you're a casual. It's absolutely separating us. And it to me, it's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Mirzinski, good morning to you, buddy. He says, I mean, who cares if a woman is a sports industry? They already have a tough job, especially in an industry where they're in the minority. Being a woman on ESPN is one of the most difficult day-to-day jobs, I think, because you are constantly questioned just because you have boobs and a vagina.
And that's not just by males.
I mean, it is.
See, look no further than Rachel Nichols.
It's really unfortunate, and I just don't know that we'll ever get past it.
Yeah.
Jeff Garcia was 2-4 in the playoffs with a 73 rating. He's Jimmy G without the wins. No wonder Mina Kimes hurt his feelings. Giggity says, I agree with that. Cody Strickland says, I get a lot of shit for saying Holly is annoying and gets lost a lot when speaking. Has nothing to do with her being a woman. I miss KK and wish she was still doing the casting. Yeah. I don't mind Holly Rowe. A lot of people don't enjoy her.
Well,
on the Jazz broadcast.
It's two different things, though. This is two different things. Let's be very clear about this. Saying that, like, Holly Rowe's a great example. I'm glad this got brought up. Saying that you don't enjoy somebody, like, in how they deliver their content, like how they talk about it and what they're saying, that's very different than going on the record and being like, oh, well, you never played in the NFL, so how could you have any opinion? Like, that's that's two separate things. Like,
totally.
Like, I can respectfully say, like I was saying earlier, I don't love what the local media puts out here, and I got a guy DMing me about, Ben Anderson, asking that question, and he tweeted that on the 15th. So over 10 days ago, Ben apparently asked that question, and I never saw that. So credit to Ben for asking that question. But that doesn't mean that I have to like, generally speaking, what Ben Anderson puts out, with all due respect to him. Not to say that he's not good at what he does, but it just is an enjoyment factor. So I think what Jeff did was way worse than that. I think Jeff, like, personally attacked her, not her work, but like her as a human.
Yes.
And I think that's totally different.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just think we as men have trouble with women in the media.
Yeah. And you see dudes getting in trouble for it all the time. A lot of times it'll be athletes, sometimes it's media members, but you see it all the time.
I mean, that's why I just think us as guys, we look at women as sexual objects. My wife will often, get on me because I weaponize women's body parts.
Come on, man.
If you call a guy, oh, you're such a P. Like, I mean, I don't disagree with that. And it has a different impact now on me than it's ever had.
Yeah.
I think why you see so many sex scandals where it's a man harassing a woman is because largely when you're a powerful man or you feel like you're a powerful man in a powerful position, whether it's in entertainment with Harvey Weinstein, whether it's Sean Salisbury sending pictures of his dick around ESPN, Brett Favre sending a picture of his thumb to Jen Sturger,
Deshaun Watson.
It's because you feel like that woman wants to have sex with me.
Trevor Bauer.
But
Yeah, I know. You think Trevor Bauer didn't do anything wrong.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, you think he didn't violate the law, and I think he violated his responsibility.
Yeah. I disagree with 25% of what I hear on this show, and I love it. I'm in politics, and I see it every day. We can disagree and still respect your opinion. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, I don't. Why is there anything
Absolutely.
wrong with that? Why can't we? And that's again, not that I'm trying to rehash it, but that's why I was so surprised when we first heard the local radio here saying that about us, like, oh, you're hacks and all that. We first heard that I think maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that. And my first reaction to it was, okay, number one, why are you even talking about us if you have an edict not to talk about us? But then secondly, why is it got to be a tear you down thing? Why can't it just be, hey, again, with the local media, I appreciate what they do, but I don't love the content they put out. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And by the way, notice they never say we're wrong.
Yeah. Notice they're completely wrong. No, it's you worked here 5 years ago and you're a hack. It just, my point just is, and I agree with the comment, the political guy, whatever his name is. Chris Karn. I agree with that 100%. Just because you disagree with something doesn't mean that you're some horrible human being.
I'm blocking you.
Yeah, well, and that's what Twitter's done. And this is a grander conversation. That's what Twitter has done. Oh, well, you're a hack, you're this, you're that, you're blah, 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 blah. It's like a barking dog, like a yappity-ass dog, right? Now we have the ability to hit the mute button and hit the block button.
Cody Strickland says the real question is, are you hitting the slopes this weekend? Yep, canyons tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to mention Jordan Jenkins is officially, trying to get the Xbox in my DMs right now.
Why is that?
He sent me the Ben Anderson tweet. I said appreciate you, and now he's like, I need that Xbox. You're gonna have to do more than that to get the Xbox.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, you got to subscribe to the channel. You want a better chance? You got to buy some shirts. I really appreciate you sending me, the article or the tweet or whatever. I appreciate that. But you got to put that work in.
Yeah. I'm amazed. Yeah. Anyway, how's your tax liability looking?
Garbage. Terrible. Single male making well over six figures, paying a ton of taxes in 2 states, and I'm still only going to get $2,000 back.
Yeah, and you don't own property. You're not married. You don't have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, you got to give up your virginity. Lose your virginity. Pay less tax.
Lidocaine and B12.
You know what I'm saying? Jake, I just weaponized a vagina.
When you brought up taxes this morning, I was pissed. I was not in a good mood when you brought that up.
Well, I'm telling you, I just think that I know we talk about this every day, it seems like, but you have to itemize your taxes through an LLC, or you're going to wind up paying through the nose. It's tough when you make money. When you make real money, you make six figures.
As an employee.
On a paycheck, and you don't own a house, and you don't have kids, and you're not married. And if you're married and you don't have kids, it's even worse.
It's ridiculous.
You just get pounded. So you got to have multiple properties. You got to have businesses. What was the other thing we were going to talk about today? Oh, the inspection is today.
Oh, yes.
On the condo that we're buying.
Yes.
And we got the spuds. Which basically is the seller disclosure.
I think that's HIPAA.
Where they tell you, hey, here's all the stuff we broke in the year and a half we own this unit. We got a lot to look at today.
Okay, what are you thinking we need to look at?
Well, they disclosed that there was a water line leak from the washing machine.
Right, yeah.
And that they had a major water incident. So we're going to have to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just things like that. And, there's supposedly an electrical issue that they haven't been able to figure out. So now I'm going to have to pay an electrician to go out there and be like, hey, how's the electrical look in this unit? It's just one of those things where you gotta do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because if there's a major electrical deal that's got to be done on this house, Yeah,
you want to know about that stuff. I think, yeah. It was, what was it, Bill? 2010 or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
It's you're going on 15 years now, and I think that things just happen. Stuff burns out. It just happens.
Several people have commented on your haircut.
Yeah, they like it or they hate it.
They like it.
Yeah, I know.
Giggity says, with that new cut, Jake may be on his way to getting kids this weekend.
Just so you can go to Pound Town.
Hey, what about my new?
Y'all are too reliable, man.
I got a haircut.
You guys are too reliable with your comments.
Yeah,
bro.
but anyway, my point is, before we wrap this up, are you black lighting it for blood and semen on the walls? We should.
The new place?
The new place. Are we going to blacklight? Are we going to turn all the lights off and look for semen on the floor and the walls?
No, we're
No,
not
we're
doing
probably
that.
not.
We're not.
We're
No,
probably
dude.
not,
No.
Yeah, thinking that's not a good idea.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Brylark says Jake needs to put the glasses back on.
Nope, ain't doing
I
it.
think that's HIPAA.
Yeah, that's HIPAA, bro.
What I'm telling you is that the inspection is a really important part of buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have it. Obviously, it's being inspected today. Then we're going to walk through it with the inspector with the spuds. The seller disclosure.
I think that's HIPAA.
And so I don't think we'll find anything. I mean, I really don't. I mean, we are going to pay $18 million a month for the HOA.
It's ridiculous.
That's going to be my biggest thing. I need to read through the, CC&Rs and just kind of understand what the dealio with that gene
I don't
is.
think there's anything majorly wrong. I agree. The water issue just needs to be confirmed and, make sure that that's fixed. And then, I'm just finding out that there was some apparently electrical issue. Okay, we can look into that and see what's what. You know, I think, I'm a big believer in not turning things into something it doesn't need to be until we know it is that, So like, hey, what does an electrical issue mean? Does that mean, hey, I need a new breaker, or does that mean I got to rewire the whole house? What does that mean? So that's what we're going to find out.
Yep, and so we'll have to do some due diligence on that. But buying an investment property is something you really should look at. And if you haven't had the opportunity to do that, I'd really encourage you to do that. By the way, I also have a call with a franchising fast food chain today.
Yeah, dude.
So
which is exciting.
That's going to be interesting. It's much cheaper than the original. I don't know why I'm being coy about it, but I'm trying to figure out if I can afford to buy a fast food restaurant and start a chain of restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can afford it. I'm not that rich. I'm not papered up. I'm not rich at all. Like, goddamn, $50,000 to buy this condo is like, oh,
yeah,
it makes my groin tighten up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are some things there that money is such a funny thing.
It goes out faster than it comes in, that's for sure.
When you have it, you stress about it. When you don't have it, you stress about it more.
Yeah.
Like whether it's taxes or buying investment properties or.
So I walk in the door today, and you're like, yeah, we're probably not going to snowboard Sunday because we got to do taxes, and we got to look at this and that, and we were just kind of talking about it. And then we get to talking about itemizing, and you're like, yeah, you're going to owe a lot, bro. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? I've paid like 40 G's in taxes this year already. How can I owe more? That's what annoyed me.
The thing that people don't understand is just because you have taxes taken out of your paycheck doesn't mean that you will not owe the government more tax money.
Yeah,
it is all about how your life is set up. And I think that I have a lot of money taken out of my paycheck at Yelp. I give fully as much as I can to 401k. I have a Roth set up. I have a healthcare spending account. I have an extra $200 taken out of my paycheck every month to go to taxes. Like, I do everything I can do to cover my tax liability.
Yeah.
Because when you make as much money as I make and you don't have kids and you only own a house, you're going to owe. The other problem is my wife makes more than I make. And it is one of those things where, well, okay.
She disagrees.
She disagrees. She makes almost.
Dude, the point is
as
you guys are making bunko money, okay? That's the point.
Yeah, we rolling into bills. We're not. But the point is that the government gets that pound of flesh. And trust me, pay it, because when you go through an audit, I mean, they're coming for that dick.
Yeah, I'm not trying to not pay it.
They're coming for you.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm not somebody who's like all into the, let's avoid paying taxes and find a way to funnel my money through the Maldives and through Italy so I can bring it back and it's clean. I'm not trying to do that, dude. Like, I'll pay the taxes, but it's just ridiculous to me that it's like, hey, you can be successful as an employee, but you're still going to get that ass beat on taxes, like, repeatedly.
Marcus wants to know, do you guys hide your tax liability? No, not in any way, shape, or form.
And I'm not interested in it. See, I don't want to play that game.
No.
I don't want to be the guy who's got to look over my back constantly.
I don't want to be scared of going to the mailbox every day.
What I want to do,
I don't.
What I want to do is I want to get educated around the tax code and understand what the deal is. So we have to go. We'll talk about it Monday, but it's just Follow us on TikTok. We'll make some TikTok content.
What's better, 401k or 401k Roth? I do both. I do Roth and 401k. For sure. Yeah, roll the music. The key to avoiding taxes is having a business and buying more than you sell. Ding. And having a good tax professional. Have somebody do your taxes. Don't do them yourself. The rate of the rate of audit on people who do their own taxes is significantly higher than when you have a tax professional do it. Trust me on that. Trust me when I say you should hit like on YouTube right now. Give us a thumbs up. We're giving away an Xbox Series S. Please check out our affiliate links below. Please check those out. Please hit subscribe. If you want to buy one of our 4 remaining t-shirts, DM me. We have XL and 2XL left. New t-shirt coming in the next week or so. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.